Good morning, everybody. Excited to get back at it this week. It's been a good opportunity for us to improve our team, learn from the first couple games, and hopefully apply some of those lessons moving forward. But proud of the guys and how they worked last week. Got a couple guys that have taken advantage of the opportunity to continue to get healthy. Just ready to get back at it. It's going to be a great opportunity for us here at home. Noon game. This is a big game for both teams as we get into conference play, and that's really what it's all about. At this point is conference. We got 8 straight conference games coming up, so every week is a huge opportunity. Starting with this one, but I know our crowd is going to show up. It was a great environment against App State, and I know they'll be eager to get back in the Valley and kick this thing off the right way. It's also Paul Journey week for us. This is a week that we take, kind of every day we have a little bit of a way to celebrate Paul Journey. We'll have a little banquet Thursday night, with some of our supporters and people who donate to Paul Journey and recognize some folks. So just a big week from that regard. Appreciate what Jeff Davis means to all of Clemson, and certainly Clemson football, and as the leader of our Paul Journey program. So a lot of young men's lives have been enriched and changed through Paul Journey initiatives. And so it's great to celebrate that, and kind of this is the week that we do that. But NC State's a good football team. They're undefeated in the league, so this is their first one as well. So big rivalry game every year. It's been around for a long time. Nobody really talks about the Textile Bowl anymore, but it's still out there, and it means a lot to a lot of people on both sides of this game. So this is a very experienced football team that we're getting ready to play. They obviously lost their quarterback, but they went and got McCall, who this guy's played a million games. I know he's, right now that says that he's not going to be the starter. And then they went and brought in Noah Rogers. 10 had a heck of a year last year, so he's back. They went and got the running back from Duke. So it's and then all those linemen are back, and then they brought the center in from Notre Dame. So very, very experienced offensive group. They're well coached, they're tough, they're physical, they're built to run the ball. They challenge you from a discipline standpoint in leveraging the ball, eyes on your work, a lot of just discipline type plays and what they do, and then they're downhill at you. So just a good football team. Again, receivers that can make plays, and over on the defensive side, really good up front, physical, strong. This is a defense that's they're not afraid to challenge you and come after you, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. That's just their mentality. And then they'll play a lot of drop 8 as well. Just depending on the situation. It could be first down, it could be third and long. So they do a really good job from a scheme standpoint. But really good football team. Same thing. A lot of guys with a lot of experience. I know they had a couple guys that are questionable, but I would say whoever they run out there on Saturday will be ready to play the Tigers, and vice versa. So we're looking forward to a great opportunity. Dave's done an awesome job with that program, and a place I got a lot of respect for, and look forward to a great battle on Saturday.
I guess, do you hope or expect that Peter Woods will be able to practice this week?
What's that?
Peter Woods.
Yeah, he's day to day. He's day to day. He's every day that ends in Y. He's day to day. He's been out. He can practice. He hasn't missed one yet. He's out there every day, grinding, working. Stay here all weekend. Matter of fact, just to continue to work on his rehab. Do have some bad news, and we did lose Dietrich Pennington. I don't know if y'all had already heard that or not, but maybe y'all put that out. I don't know. Nobody knew that. Wow. I didn't know that, but yeah, he's got to have his ACL repaired. He had kind of what they call it wasn't fully torn, but I think it's one of those deals. It's not going to heal back up, so they gotta fix it. So really, I hate that for that kid. Hopefully, our plan is to get the year back so that he'll still have a couple of years, and because he really was starting to come on, and just a setback for him. But he's in a good place and mentally, and knows what he's got to do. But that's another tough loss for us for sure. So Caleb Nix had his surgery last week as well as Kobe. So a couple tough breaks for us there. But hopefully some of these other guys will be getting back in here full go as well. So.
Was Dietrich the at-state game when he got hurt?
Yeah, he kind of been swelled up on him, and then he just kind of somehow in that game he felt it again, and we just got him back and did the MRI and all that stuff. And again, it wasn't a full tear, but it's just they said they got to repair it anyway because of the type of injury. So hate that for him. I really do. That's a tough loss for us, but again, long term, we'll try to get the year back and see if we can reset it.
David Hood with TigerNet. Going back to NC State, Concepcion, Casey Concepcion, he is a dynamic playmaker. How do you cut? They line him up everywhere, backfield, out wide, in the slot. They try to put him everywhere.
They do, and I would say you'll probably see more of that this week. I mean, I would anticipate you might see him in some wildcat situation to try to create, some extra hats in the run game. A lot that they do with McCall. He's a really good runner and a very, very willing runner, and a smart runner. So they've done that already in the past with 10. And I could see them, doing a little bit more of that. But they're just going to make sure. I mean, he's a dynamic player, so they're going to make sure he touches the ball. And they move him around, so it's hard to just, really isolate on him. They move him around and try to create some mismatches and isolate him on what they think is better matchups. But they motion him all the time, they line him up everywhere. So he's a good football player, and they do a good job of getting him, touches. So you have to know where he is every single play. They're not going to come out of the game or many drives, if you will, without him being involved. So you better know where he is, and that doesn't mean they don't have other good players. They do. If the tight end's a good player, they got a couple good tight ends. They got a couple big receivers. Dakari's a good player, kid that we liked here, and he's a big, strong receiver. He's a guy. They brought in Noah, so they got good dudes. But it all starts with the run game for them. I mean, they're gonna challenge you from a physical standpoint in the run game, and then leveraging the ball. And obviously, how we did in that first game, with the two big plays we gave, just didn't leverage the ball outside in properly. They'll challenge that. So we got to do a good job there. And they do it different ways, whether it's the stretch, it's the boots, swap boots, or it's all the jets that they have, where you really have to do a good job of containing the ball and turn everything back to your pursuit.
Dabo, how do you think that Sammy Brown and D. Creighton did in sort of the trial by fire, playing a lot of snaps against App, and how comfortable do you feel with one or both of those guys, with Kobe being out, sort of being trusted to play competitive snaps?
They're ready to go play. That's our job as coaches to help them be confident in what their job is, and if they're not confident with something, well, what are they confident with? And let's make sure we ask them to do that. I think that's just coaching. You gotta, we always say we got to meet them where they are, and we can't just expect them to come to us or to where maybe another player is. So you have to be smart with where those guys are. They haven't played as much football as Barrett Carter, but I'm really encouraged. I think those guys have taken a ton of ownership. Wes has done a great job with them, and Dee and Sammy, they're ready to roll. They're good players. They're talented guys, and they're talented young guys. Their best football is still in front of them for sure. So that's one of those positions you hopefully that you stay a little healthy and keep your best guys healthy and bring those guys along, but they got to be ready to go play, and they will be.
Is there any concern with the offensive line with Pennington going down and with Trent Howard? Is he back practicing?
Trent's back. Yep. So we do have him back. So that's a positive. Again, he was one of those guys that the off week was good. So that's a huge shot in the arm for us, getting a real veteran guy back that can, snap and play guard for us. But we're fortunate, and again we've got more depth there than we've had in a while. And we've got some guys that bring a lot of versatility. Like for example, Sadler can play really anywhere, except center. He's not going to play center for us, but he can play 4 positions. Marcus Tate could pop in and play tackle, no problem. Harrison Trent give us some good depth and flexibility there as well. And then Elijah Thurman is a guy that's really a kid that I think is going to continue to just progress and be ready to help us.
Did the bye week help Marcus too in terms of
Yes.
getting back to where he's back to the good line?
Yeah, he's ready to roll. And again, he was available for
Yeah,
half.
yeah,
We
yeah.
just again, we're there might have been years past where like, hey man, you got to go, but when you got a guy like Sadler that's sitting there, like, there's no sense in having a guy out there that maybe isn't quite 100%. When you got a guy that is, so but he's good.
What kind of impact has Matt Luke made on that group this year? Like, have you seen like specific improvements or differences in that unit with him as coach this year that maybe you wouldn't have seen in the past?
I think he's just done an awesome job in really developing the chemistry in the room, and they're a very connected group. Obviously, we're more experienced. He's got a pretty experienced group that he's walking in there with. Tristan Lee is a 4th-year guy now, redshirt junior. Blake has been a 2-year starter. He's in his 3rd year as a starter. Sadler's a redshirt sophomore. Trent's a 5th-year guy. Harris has started as a freshman. So I think it's a room that has more experience, and I just think that he's just done an awesome job, from a leadership standpoint, and really just his daily approach and how he goes about his business. I think it's been really, really good. Those kids have really bought into what he's asking to do and how he wants them to play and how he wants them to practice, all that stuff. So he's done a great job in really every aspect. He's done a great job in recruiting for us as well. Just been a huge plus for us.
We talk a lot about Cade's 2nd year with the offense and what that means for him. Is that a similar aspect for the offensive line when they've been in a part of the offensive
Yes.
scheme for an extra year that it just works better?
Yeah, and there's no question. I mean, if you got talent,
Yeah.
if you're talented, if you got some guys that are strong and big, and you got the ingredients, I think that's just natural that you get better with experience. I mean, you see that all through the years that we've had guys here. Whether it's Gage Cervinka, who was a guy that, by the time he was a 5th-year senior, was a really good player. But guys just get better. If they're made of the right stuff, they put the work in. It's important to them. They're going to get better. If they're really truly bought into what you're asking to do, and because the game slows down. When you have continuity, from a system standpoint, of knowledge and things like that, you've got the base stuff. And so now you're on. You see things in a different light when you're a junior than you did as a freshman, and that's at every position. And then, sometimes guys have great first years, and that's great. But if that's their best year, something went wrong, right? Like they should be better as they go through their career. And I think that's what you see with those guys. I mean, they're definitely common, but being year 2 in the same system is a part of that because they're not starting over, and I mean they're adding, they're stacking, so I think that's important.
What's it like to see Elijah moving so sort of confidently, I guess, and full speed as he was last week.
Thurman?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Thurman.
Man, he looks like a D lineman. I mean, he can run. This guy can move. And that's one of the things. That's what we loved about him coming out. You knew physically, watching him in high school. And physically, he's going to be in position to help us. But you never know till you start coaching a guy. Will the mental part add up to match the physical part? You know, again, we see that. I've had many times. Physically, the guy looks the part, but mentally, it's just going to take a little while. And then vice versa. I've seen guys that physically they're not ready, but mentally they're way beyond, and they help you. And so that's why you just never really know. You don't really make any decisions on guys until you can really start coaching kids, and seeing where they are. You don't want to, you try not to. You don't want to put guys out there, especially in today's world, where they're not equipped to have success, and because man, that can really hurt a kid. So you got to be smart. But Elijah, when he got here, I mean, this kid, same thing. He can play 5 positions. That's how smart he is. He can play 5 positions. He played center in high school. We haven't really asked him to play center here yet, but I would be willing to bet he'll probably play some center before he leaves Clemson. But he's a rare kid. I mean, he really truly can be a kid that at some point could probably start in 5 different positions. He's that strong. He's that athletic. He's that smart. And so we're really, really blessed to have a kid like him. And we don't have to have him start right now. He can be a guy that we can bring along and keep developing him. But he's going to really be a good football player. I think it's very important to him. He's physical. All you gotta do is watch him run. I mean, he doesn't run like many. He looks like I said. He runs a lot of times like a D lineman. He's really athletic, so he'll keep putting the work in. He's gonna be a really good player. He's got all the tools, and again, just his versatility is hard to find.
Talk about today's world. Ryan Lefty, he's a guy who had to wait several years to start. How do you sell that to a player, especially now with the transfer portal? They could go seek another opportunity. How rare is that to have a guy stay until he's a redshirt junior?
Well, it hasn't been rare here. It is rare in college football, but I think we were 2nd or 3rd in retention last year. It's not that we don't lose some guys, but when you compare it to everything else going on, we don't have many guys leave. And I think so. It's not about selling anything. It's just about having relationships in place, making sure that you guys you continue to help create vision for guys. I think that's maybe part of it, and their opportunity, and then the value of being where they are and developing. I just think it's really important. Development is huge. You asked me about the offense, right? I mean, if you're starting over all the time, it's hard to get to that next level. It's just hard from a developmental standpoint because there's just a lot. And if you're really starting over, which a lot of guys do, it's just it can limit you a little bit because you never quite get to 103 because you're always back at 101. Because you got to get the basics down of anything before you can really advance. And football is a unique sport, and then we have a lot of things that we all call the same thing. Oh, we go, oh, that's inside zone. Oh, that's power. Oh, that's a counter. Oh, that's a toss play. Oh, that's 4 verts. Oh, that's a stick route. But nobody calls it that. Like, you don't just go to the next school and say, all right, we're going to run the power. And everybody's on the same, but no, everybody's got their own terminology, their own languages, their own systems, their own, and that takes what? It's not easy. It's not easy. It's really way more complicated than what people know. So when you're, so the development of that is important. I always say it's like math. You got to learn how to add, subtract, whole division, multiply, right? And then you can't just go to calculus. I mean, you're not going to be very successful. You're just not. You've got to build the foundation. from a long-term standpoint. So I think that's definitely important.
On that same note, you guys might see CJ Bailey, a freshman, this upcoming weekend. What is it like preparing for a guy that you've seen so little film on?
I mean, you prepare for what they do. I mean, they're not going to change their whole offense. They got a week to get ready. I mean, they're going to do what they do. They're going to turn around and hand that ball to them big old backs. Them dudes are good players. Waters was third in the history of Duke. They're going to come off the ball with them big offensive linemen and try to. It's about blocking, tackling, fitting gaps. Moving people. He's got to. They're not going to just ask this kid to go win a game. They're going to ask him to do his job. That's why he's there, and that's why he's been practicing and all that stuff. But they're gonna tailor what they do maybe to his strengths, but they're not going to change what they do. They're not going to come in here and all of a sudden they're running a triple option every play. I don't think. We'll see. But this is he's a good player though. And again, when you watch him, he really sparked him. I thought, and I watched every play just live, and I thought he just got better as the game went, and you could tell there was a lot of energy that he brought into it, and he's a tough kid, and you can tell that because he's not. I didn't see any fear in him at all, and you coming into a situation where you're down, right, and you got to go lead your team. And it's the first time you played. It's a big moment, and I thought he handled it very well. So that's why they recruited him. But he's a good-looking kid. And look forward to the matchup.
You talked about the big experienced O-line that they have and the history of the running back, but they have not run the ball super effectively the first 3 games. As you kind of watch film on that, is there anything that stood out to you, or you kind of just say like, I've seen enough of these guys before that I know what they're capable of? Well,
I think a lot of things happen in college football the first week or two. Everybody's still figuring things out. You see some weird things in college football, especially early in the season. It's just part of it. I think you got to give the opponent some credit too. But they're going in to score. It's 10-3 late second quarter against Tennessee, and they're whatever they on a 15 or whatever. They're great drive. They're getting ready to go tie this thing up. Pick 6, and all of a sudden, man, it just kind of got away from him quick. In a game like that, it's now you're in a hole. So, it's not like you're just gonna line up and run the football when you all of a sudden you got a pretty big deficit, and it's the second half of the football game against a really good opponent. You got to, it's probably not going to be quite what you scripted on the game plan. So some of that stuff is skewed. There's a lot of statistics these first couple of games that, I wouldn't pay too much attention to them. Sometimes who you play early can really skew things. But the picture will paint itself. But these guys can run the football, and obviously, and too, they got some new pieces. Really the center in there, but the backs. This is their first time playing there. Quarterback McCall's first time playing and getting there. But this is a team that'll be able to run the ball when it's all said and done. That's how they're built, and I don't have any. That's what they've always been able to do. And then they create explosives. They create a lot of explosives and shots, through the run game. So, yeah, I think the game kind of got a little crazy in the Western Carolina game. That was kind of a same thing. Weird stuff happens. If you really watch the game, you give Western Carolina some credit too. I think they did a heck of a job. And then there were some mistakes and some turnovers and some things that happen in games sometimes like that, and that I think frustrated them. But hey, they did what they needed to do and won the game. And then the same again, Tennessee, it's a really good battle. Here's a pick 6. All of a sudden the game's away. Now you're not really going according to game plan. Flip side, the La Tech game and kind of what happened there. Quarterback's out. Just some still probably filling out some things, but when it's all said and done, this is a team that I think we'll be able to run the football. Hopefully not this week. You know, I promise you this. We've got to be able to, you better be ready to stop the run against NC State. If you're not, you can't stop the run against these guys, you're in for a long day, because again, everything comes through that. If they can stay on schedule and create explosives, you know, especially moving the pocket, some of those things, you got some issues.
How was the tackling against Appalachian State?
Our tackling?
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, it was, I thought, better. We got better from the Georgia game. You know, we gave up, I'm talking about it, and I'm talking about our guys that, you know, it's 56-0 at half. You know, I don't think anybody saw that coming. I mean, I'd like to say I saw that coming, but I didn't see that coming. You know, but our kids, these kids, they just played great, man. I mean, it just, you know, here we went. And so now all of a sudden, okay, Peter Woods gets banged up, you know. I mean, that's not a good press conference, right? You get some guys hurt and it's 56-0, and you know, why are some of these guys in the game? The frustrate. It's easy on offense, right? Because you can just go out there and guys can play, you can punt. But on defense, when you sub a bunch of guys, and you got some guys down there that have been over on the scout team all week, and now they're out there having to execute a game plan because the app didn't sub it. You know, and now all of a sudden it can be a little frustrating, and because you know, all of a sudden your stats get jacked up, and you know, but they need to play too. They need to play, and so you need to coach them. And it was an opportunity, so you just have to kind of take a deep breath and not get too frustrated about it, and let those guys play. So some of those guys were better than others. You know, there were some guys in there that maybe had a missed tackle or two that probably not going to play much, you know, in some of these games, but it was an opportunity to get them in the game. Maybe even some walk-on guys. So, but I thought we did a good job in that first half with our first group.
You've seen the 3-3-5 stack a bunch, the way they do it. What's the particular, I guess, problems they present, and then are there any differences in the way they attack that you see on film the first couple games?
Well, I mean, you know, first of all, the three guys up front they're explosive. You know, they got a little twitch to them. They play violent. The backers, Zero's a heck of a player. 10's a good player. But it's just their ability to be able to manipulate things in coverage. You know, they can be drop 8 on first down, and they can be cover 0 on first down. You know, and really that happens a lot and anywhere on the field. So, you know, they create some challenges. You know, you got to be really disciplined post snap. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, and really diagnosing what they're going to do coverage wise. But they're not afraid to take some chances. You know, they can bring a lot of pressure. You know, a lot of twists, a lot of movement up front, and how they fit the gaps. You know, with the second and third level players that they have. And then if they drop 8, you know, they really want to challenge you to try to throw the ball down there, and it's hard to throw the ball downfield when you got a bunch of guys. So you have to be able to have some patience and take what's there. Obviously, you got to be able to run the football against some of that, but that's not all they do. You know, I mean, they're just multiple. With you hear 3-3-5, and you think, okay, well they're not just a big drop 8 team. I mean, they do a lot of that, but they're cloud, they're invert. I mean, it's straight cover 0. You know, it's robber, it's 2D, it's Tampa. I mean, they got a little bit of everything that they can get to. So I think really being schooled up post snap is critical on where to go with the ball in the pass game. But no different for them. For us, it starts being able to run the football. You know, we've got to be able to get our hands on them, and again, that's easier said than done. You know, because they're moving around, and you got to identify guys, make sure everybody's on the same page. But that's what we practice for.
Kind of playing off of that, their corners are tall and physical. Kind of interested to see especially when they go cover 0, how your freshmen handle that this week.
We're gonna find out because they're gonna do it. That's for sure. It don't matter who they play. They're not afraid to line up and challenge you. So you know, this is a game where you got to make those competitive plays. And you know, we didn't make enough on them last year. We made a couple. We had a huge missed opportunity on 3rd down we should have had, And you know, you watch that game. We missed some opportunities. We had a big play called back because we had a penalty. You know, so I mean, there was some missed opportunities, and, but we battled back and gave ourselves a chance, but it wasn't enough. You know, pick six, another turnover. You know, they're gonna force you to make competitive plays, and to make those plays, you got to be where you're supposed to be. The ball's got to be accurate. You got to protect. So you know, that's what it comes down to.
Talk about this being a kind of underrated rivalry nationally. Does the fact that State's won 2 of the last 3 kind of give some extra juice maybe on the players' end? I guess there's probably some guys on the roster that are 1 and 2 against NC State since they.
Yeah, that's fact. If they're a junior, that's what they are. But you know, if you're a 4th-year guy, you know, you're a 5th-year guy, you got a different record. If you're me, you got a different record. So I've been in a bunch of these. You know, it don't really matter. None of that stuff matters. We just need to win the game. We need to win the game. None of that matters. Saturday, we kick it off. You got to go play this game. That's the only thing that matters. How you do this week.
They won't have Peyton Wilson, a guy who had been such a big part of their defense over the years. How have you seen them try to kind of fill that gap? And I'm assuming you don't mind not seeing him out there.
Yeah, he's a great player. Didn't the Steelers take him?
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, Steelers. Yeah. I was like, man, that's a great pick by the Steelers. I mean, you talk about like, just I think of him. I think of him. He's a perfect fit for the Steelers. I really loved him as a player. I just thought he was a great one, and a good kid too. But I mean, you know, number 10 stepped in there. 0 was a heck of a player for him last year. He's a really good football player. You know, 2 is a guy that's been kind of that nickel spot for them. I know he got banged up last week, but they keep bringing in good football players. They do a great job of coaching. They got a lot of continuity within their staff, a lot of continuity within their development, teaching, and again, good experience. So I mean, he's a great when he's gone, but these guys have done a nice job for him.
Coach, when you have that offensive explosion and then you have the bye week, what are some coaching tactics to keep the momentum rolling even though you guys didn't have a game?
We played open. You know, we still had a game. You know, we always say we play Clemson every week. That's kind of our mindset. It really, and that's really what we try to instill in these guys. Is it's not about who you play. It's about how you play. And you know, because if it is about all those other things, you have inconsistency in your preparation, inconsistency in your performance. All right, and you know, I think one of the reasons we've been not a perfect program, but a very, very uncommonly consistent program over the last, you know, 12, 14, 15 years is that mindset. So, you know, it's not an off week. It wasn't an off week. It's just another work week. We're playing Clemson this week. And let's don't lose to Clemson. So how did we do that? Well, let's have great preparation. Let's have great meetings. Let's be intentional, and let's have great passion and energy in practice. It starts with us as coaches. So it's no different. 4 good work days. Instead of traveling to the hotel on Friday, hey, they got to be off for a couple of days. But same thing, they're off. But hey, guys are opportunity to get some treatment, watch some tape, watch some football, learn from other people. Man, there's no greater thing than being able to learn from other people. I do that as a coach all the time. It's one of my favorite things to do. It just, you know, whether it's situational stuff, you know, game management, you know, to specific X and O stuff. I mean, so it wasn't. We played open. I think we had a great week. I think we beat them. So now we're into a new week. So there was no off week. It was just part of our schedule. And now we're on to this opponent. And same thing. Just don't lose to Clemson. You know? So I think that's the main thing. And I know that may sound coach speak, that's really what it takes. Because if you create something different, you're to me, you send the wrong message. You know, and again, it's the only way you're going to create that consistency in your performance is consistency in your preparation. And, you know, that's, if you're walking out of that field, if you're going in a meeting, it shouldn't matter if there's a game Saturday or not. That's important. And we have to set the tone for that. And that's what we try to do. If I answer your question or not, that's what we try to do.
When you're watching games on an off Saturday for you, obviously you're watching NC State because you got them coming up next. Is there what else comes to, like, besides what your viewing habits are on a off Saturday?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I am a big YouTube TV guy now. All right, I finally figured out how to get that freaking app on my phone. It's like the act of Congress. I mean, you gotta have like birth certificates and all kind of stuff to get some of these things. And then, like, I don't know all these codes from, you know, who's your provider. I mean, it's some crazy stuff on there. But anyway, I got the YouTube TV, and man, it was awesome. I had my phone going, I had my iPad going with 4-screen, and I had the TV going. I would imagine some of y'all probably did the same thing, because it's what you do for a living, right? Like, y'all gotta know what the heck's going on. And I mean, we had a lot of teams playing that we're gonna play, and so that's really what I did all day. I just watched them all day, and it was awesome, and just fun to watch. You know, saw some good stuff, saw some bad stuff, and you know, just enjoyed it.
Talk about Brian Wesco and DJ Moore being able to learn some new positions. Is that just strictly flipping the outside, or they get some work in the slot too?
We just kind of pretty much they are learning their 2 spots right now. But formationally, you know, they can move, but that's a part of their position. You know, does that make sense? Like, they don't just line up. I mean, they might be the X, for example, but certain formations, the X is in the slot, or he's in a trip set. I mean, you know, so that's stuff that they're all part of. But as far as a different position, we're just asking them to learn the X and the Z right now. So we haven't really asked them to move around. They're not flopping. You know, we're not asking Wesco to go to Z. That's just kind of where they are right now. But again, formationally, we can scheme them up wherever we want them. But over time, you'll eventually they'll be able to, I think, play multiple positions. I think TJ, I think he can definitely play all 3 positions at some point. He's not ready for that right now, but at some point he will be. He's really, I think Wesco is a true X and Z guy. But you know, not that he can't play in the slot, but I don't see him as a true H. You know, he could be a formational slot guy, you know, play design, stuff like that. But he's and same thing with TJ. I mean, he's a very natural X and Z, but he's one of those unique guys that I think would be very fluid in the slot, a true H guy. He could play any of them, pretty much all. At some point.
Antonio still plays in slot?
He can play anywhere. He can play all 3 spots. You know, that's kind of how I see TJ in time. I mean, just play anywhere that you need him to play. Antonio can do that.
How does Tyler Venables missing the first half kind of impact the defense and the safety positions for Saturday's game?
I mean, yeah. I mean, so you got one of your, you know, he's a key depth guy, key contributor for us, very knowledgeable player. That, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you hope that you can hold up in the first half. You know, and guys can stay healthy and stuff, and you don't need him. You know, that's because I mean, again, he's a guy that can go play. But and then obviously it impacts us on special teams. But it is what it is. Be ready.
What have you seen from the running back rotation behind Philmont, particularly on what the film said about App State?
Well, I mean, you know, not much of a rotation at this point, just because we played 2 games, and you know, the Georgia game was. I mean, I watched the Eagles play last night. I didn't see much of a rotation. I saw them hand that ball to Saquon Barkley and throw it over there. So, you know, we got in the Georgia game and we had 52 snaps, so there wasn't much of a rotation to where we felt like we needed to get Phil out a lot. But obviously, you know, as you go through your season, you're hoping that we can create rhythm and, you know, drives and all that stuff to where it naturally happens. And you're, you know, snapping the ball 70 to 80 times a game, and I think that will evolve more as we go. So pleased with those guys. I mean, I thought Jay Haynes got in there. He averaged, I think, I want to say it was like 9, almost 10 yards a carry. And you know, Easy E did a great job. They all got some opportunity, and so you know they took advantage of it. So it was good to see. We really like our guys that we have in that room. So but it all starts with Phil. And, you know, we'll make sure he gets what he needs, and then we'll see how they roll from there.
Speaking of Phil, I think one of the players said that he went over 20 miles per hour on that 83-yard carry. Were you surprised to see him break that 20-mile-per-hour barrier?
I was not, man. He can run. People don't really know how fast he is. He's a 230-pound guy. I mean, he can move, and he got the great thing about that is he got stronger. You know, he's got some long speed. You know, an ability to really finish a long run. That's not easy to do, but he gets stronger as he goes. Same thing in a game, he gets better as he goes. But when he gets out in that open field, man, you better get him quick because he's not gonna steady out. I mean, he's gonna accelerate and keep it going all the way through. And he's just very powerful. But he really practices that way. If you watch him in practice, I mean, anytime he runs in practice, that's what he does. He finishes long runs. He runs if we're backed up. You know, got the ball in the 20 or whatever. You know, if we're working on the team period or something, he'll sprint all the way to the goal line. So he practices those long runs. But I was not surprised at all. Other people might have been, you know, because again, just look at it, you think he didn't have that type of speed. He could really run.
Is that a great teaching play? And that you rewind it several times because I think Brenningstool got a nice seal block and maybe Sadler pulled and got one to show if you do this.
I mean, that play was a clinic. I mean, you got 5 offensive linemen, you got 5 blocks. You got 2 tight ends in the game, you got 2 blocks. The only person not blocked is the safety. Well, that's the running back. We can't block them all. So that's his guy. Well, he beat his guy. And then the receivers did a great job of getting those guys wide and outside. And then, you know, I think Wesco stayed inside, and they gave great effort getting down the field to try to give him a little escort, if you will. But everybody was blocked. But that's what you draw up. Like that's when you do a play, you're like, okay, well, we're going to block this guy, we're going to block that guy. You got, you know, it's a beautiful thing when you see it come to fruition like that. It was awesome. And we can't block the safety, so Phil, you got him. And I mean, it was that's the way every play should work. Every play's designed to score. Theoretically, that one worked. A lot of them worked. In that game, so we need a little more of that.
Richmond Weaver Tiger Tailgate Show. NIL and transfer portal was obviously a focal point in college athletics today, but you seem to continue to emphasize Paul Journey. Why is that so unique, and why you continue to emphasize Paul Journey?
I mean, it's just a foundational piece to this program, to the purpose of this program. You know, the number one thing is graduation. We know what we've done there. I mean, everybody's picture on the wall, and we got a lot of guys that have gotten their education and have taken advantage of the opportunity. And it's well documented. The second thing is really equipping them as men. That's what Paul Journey's all about. It's teaching them that, you know, not life after football, life's happening right now. Life's happening right now. And trying to help prepare them, you know, and more than just a guy that can run a route or rush the passer. It's very important. So, you know, career opportunities, networking, you know, exposing them to so many different things, whether it be through community service or micro internships, and really creating a vision for them beyond the football field. I think that's really important. I mean, I think ultimately that's our main responsibility is who are they going to be as men, husbands, fathers, what kind of leader can they be? So Paul Journey is a leadership initiative. We're really truly trying to build, you know, use this platform of football and education to build great leaders, great men. So that's what Paul Journey is all about. And that, we got 6 people that wake up every day. That's all they do. Is think about how we can help these guys do life better. Because life is hard, and life is hard. We all know that, right? And it never gets easier. You just learn how to handle the hard better as you live life. It doesn't really ever get easier. You know, you just learn how to manage things better as you go through it. So, but these are really young people, and you're trying to. So Paul Journey's about equipping them. You know, it's life skills. It's basic stuff. Man, how to tie a tie. To just again specific career stuff, financial stuff. Now we have. That's what NIL has been great for us, because now you have true hands-on opportunity to even further prepare them for the real world, as opposed to theory. This is, hey, what we've always done financial literacy, we've always done tax education, we've always done that, but now you got a real world application, so it's even more important. And so it's a great thing. It really is. And I think that's another reason why kids stay here. They see the value that comes with being a part of this program. And our Paul Journey ambassadors, that's a great program. They're elected to become a Paul Journey ambassador. That's not an easy process. And you got to be voted on by your team. But it's a big deal. It means a lot to these guys. So again, it's a true leadership, and that's what we need. We need good leaders. And it's a true leadership initiative that is, I think, one of a kind in all of college football. I really do. It's a curriculum. That's what you do as a freshman. It's what you do as a sophomore. It's what you do as a junior. It's what you do as a senior. This is what we do collectively as a team. And it's a true curriculum that, that we execute the plan year in and year out. And you see transformation in these guys' lives as they go through it. If they stay, you'll see the transformation in them. And again, through all the things that we do. But Paul Journey really helps us, fulfill a big part of our purpose. And the third part is having a good experience, having some fun, and the last part is winning a championship. And we've fulfilled that purpose, for 16 years now. And again, everybody that's come here since I've been here has won a championship. Everybody except last year's freshman. That's it. Obviously, this guy right here just got here, but everybody has won a championship since they came here, since February of 2009. And so the world's changed, but the purpose hasn't changed. How you go about fulfilling that's always evolving. But we still live it out every day. Paul Journey it's really special. I mean, you're doing an awesome job. Jeff is great, man. I mean, he just does such a great job with those players. So does Joel. Josh Watson's back now. We're doing our career development side. Anton, Kayla, Chris Miller. We got a great group over there that players.
Got time for one more for Coach, if anybody has one?
You got an update on Tyler Brown?
Yeah, he's out there yesterday. Same thing, day to day, getting better every day. See how it goes Saturday.